everyone. Hi, welcome back. I'm Thom Allison. I'm here with Chad McFadden and Matt Alfano. I have to say, first of all, that was just extraordinary. Honestly. But I actually mean not showbiz extraordinary. That was actually extraordinary. What a ride that is.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight, too.
I know, this room
Truly
is full of
appreciate it.
absolutely incredible people.
Yeah,
Everybody
all
here
artists and creators in
is
this room.
so
It's beautiful.
inspirational.
The extraordinary thing about movement-based storytelling is that, man, it's on film too, so we get the visuals, you get the music, you get the movement. The experience is so individual for every person watching it. How they connect to the material and the ideas inside it. Where did this all come from for both of you? What is this? There's so much going on there, clearly about connectivity and relationships and relationship with self. And what is this piece for both of you? Like, take us inside your sense of what this piece is.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, listen, start big.
Okay.
We'll narrow in as we go.
So Matt Alfano approached me a while ago, and he had some incredible ideas, some dance ideas and whatnot for certain pieces. They were doing the digital department, and I believe it was Dan Shamroy who sort of pitched the idea that something that Matt Alfano might do might be very worthwhile.
Yeah, true. I was hanging with Sham, and he had mentioned he just finished Lear Estates, this first season of that, and knew what I was trying to plug elsewhere and looking for funding, and said, hey, they're looking for some new content for the digital work, and so I reached out to Julie Miles.
We had to pitch the pitch deck to Stratford first, and they gave us the green light. So at that point, we spent a few months, I believe, writing this script.
Yeah, we took a lot of themes of stuff. We were looking for an overarching theme that was also something that was connected to just being human and things that people might find relatable to their own personal experience in life in whatever varying degree. And we talked a lot about the themes that sort of stem from the pandemic. That was like isolation and loss and loneliness and our inner demons and shadows and how we look at ourselves. The idea of, I suppose, a more acceptance rather than avoidance in oneself. We played on themes of duality, of like the light and the dark, the inner demons, shadows, and we all have that. Like I was saying, just the idea of how we're all more connected than we realize sometimes, especially when we're feeling these things of grief. Like all of these characters represent different parts of being human, you know, and then the male woman obviously is the enlightened perspective to allow oneself through choice, not right or wrong, this choice of life to find that freer way of being.
We played with various themes for sure. One of them being humankind suffers. We wanted to play with the idea of like, how well do you suffer? I have read an article or a study that says humans range about 7 out of 10, 6.5, 7 out of 10 on an average. You might have a really amazing day and be at an 11 out of 10, and then you might have a horrible event happens and you're at a 1. But you sort of kind of always range back to around a 7 out of 10. So we always sort of sit, I believe this personally with my own experience, that that's sort of our baseline, and it's how well do you accept that fact.
Actually, that's how well do you suffer is how healthily do you suffer? Or
Yeah,
sort of thing,
absolutely.
yeah.
How do you choose to
Yeah.
deal with that sort of platform
Right.
there? We played with that. All of our characters go through adversity and just how they deal with it. And obviously we have the male woman who is the savior character, the heroine character, who sort of gives influences to the other characters, showing them a way to sort of deal with that.
We broke it down to like the basic archetypes too, as well. All the characters represent. We went back to like actually breaking it down to that those personality traits, and then brought in these themes, you know, that were relatable to everyone. Because obviously our world is so conscious of the mental health aspect that we all have, to, like I keep saying, varying degrees. Because at the end of the day, we're just human beings trying to survive through whatever happens in our days. And then obviously we tried to find levity with it through dance and
Right.
stuff.
Another theme we had too is kind of like where you place your thoughts can dictate your reality.
Go on.
So
The seeds you water
no,
grow.
that was it. That's
Oh,
all
yeah.
I have. No,
Yeah.
No, so that's sort of the theme in that regard, is kind of like you you know, within reason, you can sort of place yourself at a certain level to sort of deal with the adversity in your life.
Right.
Yeah, and the reality that you sort of choose to do. Another theme we played with is time.
Yeah.
And our, I don't know if our lovely cinematographer wants to.
Yeah. Chris Van Kleist. Amazing.
Oh.
Do you want to say the theme about time?
I'm all about it.
Oh,
Fuck time.
fuck
Right?
time is the theme, apparently.
You play with
But
that.
Very true,
that
though.
playing fast and loose with time sort of thing, and making, well, the idea that as Einstein, I believe, that said, time doesn't exist, actually. Time is a construct for us as human beings to understand the world. But he said everything is happening at the same time in the universe. There is no sense of time, which is why things feel longer or shorter, depending on the time you're having. That's real. Time is just made up in our heads.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And time
Sanity.
is relative.
It's
and-
relative.
Yeah,
For- yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our piece takes place obviously in the same, besides the first day, takes place in the same 24-hour period, which was kind of what we were kind of going for. We called it the crash factor.
Yeah.
So the crash
The
factor is
crash
kind of like how all the stories intertwine. Something you see in chapter 2 you might see in chapter 4,
Right.
but from a different angle, and we're just trying to place those little hidden gems all around the place.
Because each one sort of had its own style, too, dance-wise. How did you pair the style with the theme of that episode or the focus of that episode each time?
I mean, it all sort of fell into place kind of naturally. We knew the certain genres of dance that we wanted to touch upon and kind of make it like an everything but the kitchen sink in style, right? And that seemed to just fall into place kind of naturally. We talked, obviously, like we wanted to touch upon a more modern, a posh-based duet with the characters of Mark and Bram. Mateo's here tonight, amazing human. Woo! And Rodney as well. You know, and because it has such and like the traditional Apache, you know, it has such a aggressive, fiery, passionate approach to it, as well as, you know, the shifting dominant roles. That seemed to just fall right into the place of the lovers and the idea of, you know, we tend to hurt the ones we love the most, or we, you know, and this also stems into the ideas of emotional maturity and projections and things like that, that we can relay on our closest people sometimes subconsciously, and how that affects our dynamics in our relationships. Right? The contemporary stuff seemed to make sense. We play with a lot of art-based stuff too, a lot of visual art. But yeah, that particular one was based off of a painting by Renee Magritte. John and Jane, the two outcasts, sort of the lost soul, one looking for connectivity through the social media lens, which is sort of a false lens a lot of the time for our world, even though I do understand the positivity behind it at times. And also the self-confidence that we can all lack sometimes and things like that. And
I think the John and Jane characters as well was, we played with the idea of missed opportunity.
Nice.
So
Yep.
throughout the episode, they're constantly missing each other and other things. And the Jane character, played by the lovely Jenny Simonia, is... Yeah, and then you were sort of the lost character, right? You couldn't find, you were the melancholy sort of trying to find.
he had his own self-esteem issues that we all struggle with, I'm sure. Just being human. These are just basic, relatable things when you break it down, that we just wanted to hopefully tell a story that people could relate to in whatever way in their own life, and also find some release from those moments too. And, you know, it's fun to see some movement and dance and stuff, telling it all.
You touched on something interesting that you said about in this moment in time and where we are with electronics and devices and things. Were you really conscious of wanting to, the tie-in of, is that an issue for you or a thought for you of coming away from all of that to reconnect to people, or people connecting to each other? Is that something you think about in your work?
Yeah, I mean, I like to believe that was seen in what we saw there for sure, in terms of just even eye contact.
Yeah.
Acknowledgement of another, and how we could sit here in silence and have a full conversation like this, right? And we can make that a dance piece. We just start freestyling. Everyone get up.
Don't give
let's
away our
freestyle.
secrets, bro.
There are tap shoes under your seats. Please
Yes.
bend down.
The cameras are there. So.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you for sure. The loss of connectivity in that piece, and then eventually finding it to work with these amazing artists that we did, and being in the room and the connectivity that we had. I mean, Matt and I have been at this for 2.5 years, but having them in the room for at least a few weeks was incredible to finally get them there, and the connectivity that we all had together was pretty incredible. I feel like we are all family now, and I didn't know that was possible in a few weeks.
In terms of the way these actors embodied all of the work that you saw there and performed it in that quality, which was incredible. Everyone only had 2 4-hour sessions to learn the choreography, and then 1 8-hour day to clean it all. So it was just like
So like
Fast and
days
Furious.
of time, just
yeah,
forever.
which is,
Yeah.
is wild. I
Wow.
just wanted to make that note.
Yeah, pretty nuts. And all the dream sequences you saw were all filmed in an hour slots. So we had 1 hour to put all those together with multiple camera angles and whatnot, which was film is so expensive and just it's the way it had to be done. But the artist, it just attributes the artist and the people we brought in are just fantastic for sure.
It's good to have talented friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who choreographed? How did the choreography get done once the concept happened? Was it all you? Was it?
We
Boom,
collaborate.
boom, 1, 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
We've worked together a lot on
Sure.
different projects and have collaborated for other people's work a lot, which, and I love a collaborative process. Like, I'm like, we just get in the room and we just see what happens. And I think that's sort of the best approach, at least, I believe deeply in that. And yeah, we just played.
You should have seen Matt and I do the John and Jane
Yeah,
scene.
we were crushing some
Or
programming.
actually, I liked our Mark and Brent for sure.
It
We
was
have
very
video of all of that for the behind the
Yeah.
scenes. We've been working on this for a while together. I do also enjoy the creative collaborative process with you. We had a couple workshops. We worked in my beautiful girlfriend Bethany's dance studio for weeks upon
Beautiful.
weeks
Nice
upon weeks.
space.
Bethany, woo!
Also fantastic, Bethany. Gorgeous.
Hey.
Gorgeous.
So it is sort of our happy place. It's our comfort. Making choreography is the fun part. Making the shadows.
The shadows were fun.
That
So-
was very
It was
cool.
all green
Yeah.
That was
screen
very-
styles.
really, that's
Yeah, it's just us.
So
Where are the shadows?
it would have been nice to have the actual actors do.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
definitely the two of
when you
us.
get the
Yeah.
budget, you go, this is the budget, go.
Yeah,
Okay, make
figure
it
it
work.
out. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, it was really, really fun to do that. That was a fun day on set too, because it was just Matt and I and the Little Big crew and Chris, obviously. No other people to.
Get in the way of creativity. Did you enjoy it? I mean, it's so much at the time, but in the end, did you love what it was? Are you thinking of doing more? Are there things percolating that would carry this over into either another a part 2 or a whole other world of something?
There is percolation in the nation happening. For sure.
There are things. There are things.
Yeah, of
Great.
course, this is not an end game. I had been, and Chado and I've been longtime friends and collaborators, and outside of the work too, we're very connected in life. And I'd been really called to open up some space to allow this type of work to happen, or see if it could happen. I don't know, like crazy dreams we all have sometimes. And yeah, this is hopefully just the beginning to continue to create more cinematic-based storytelling through movement, which would be rad. And hopefully with some other artists that are in this room too.
Yeah. This is an audition process. We're looking.
No.
5, 6, 7, 8. Impromptu chorus line. Is there anything you realized you would have done differently or would have liked to have done differently on this end of it? I mean, for us, it all seemed golden, but of course, when you're creating, it's always like, oh, I wish we could have, now that I see that, I would have done, that sort of thing. Anything you think?
I think you're always gonna find that. I think you're always even watching it now. How many 70,000 times was that for us?
A lot.
So even now we're still like, no, that's not. The other cut would have been better. Or like I think you'll always find those little things. But learning to release, and just be like, it is where it's at now and how beautiful it is. I find it really inspiring that when we were writing this, you have a vision in your head of how it's going to turn out, and going through this process and not expecting it to be even close to your vision, and then when you see it exceed your vision, it's like there's no other feeling like that. I thought it wouldn't even come close to what we thought we could even possibly do on film.
Yeah, it
So-
surpassed the mind's eye for sure. Yeah, which is like crazy because we're all artists up here, and in here there's a lot of them as well. And we've all worked on things where sometimes you go, I don't know if we got there, but it happened. And then
That's never
there's
happened to anyone
Yeah,
here, I'm sure.
Some of the most special moments are watching the cuts for the first time, because the first thing you do is you look through and which ones you want to use and which ones you don't. And just to see that film quality the first time was pretty special.
Why don't we open up to some people in the audience? Are there questions that you have for our fabulous team here? Oh, right. So for those of you who didn't hear that, can the gentleman talk about the music and the composition in the film? It was all original, yes?
It was Antonio Naranjo, a really brilliant composer. He's got so many tools in his composing belt that we were able to have a lot of different genres. And there's certain things. We played a lot with heartbeats and ticking clocks, and and you hear the doorbell every time the mailwoman's energy is present. Things like that you may have probably just not, like, it's just subconscious stuff that hopefully was getting absorbed. But yeah, so that was it. We built the music with him, and
The really neat aspect about all of that is, like, we wrote the script first, and then you take the script and we put time code to it. So this scene should be approximately 25 seconds, this quick little blip, and then obviously things change. But the really neat part about that is that with the composer, you take them through your story, and then they build that for you. So we already had the story before the music, and we obviously told him what sort of instruments for certain pieces and things like that, but he's the one that took that journey of our actual story that we wrote, which is pretty incredible.
yeah, we really emphasized the fact that we wanted the music to be another character too, right? Because there's no dialogue. Like to me, there's dialogue, but there's no spoken word, right? So that's one thing too. We talked about that, and obviously with the script and the time code, yeah, it sort of just came alive. Yeah.
He's such a talented composer, for sure.
Was anything
Absolutely.
added after it was finished, or was it all pre-created, all the music and all this, the soundscape?
We had worked with a lot of the choreo. There was stuff, and then stuff morphed as we went along in this process, as things do. Once it was pretty set, we only worked with Antonio for like 2.5 months or something. Like, it was pretty quick to build all of that music, and he just churns it out like brilliantly. Yeah.
It was so effective. It was fantastic. Did it come before that and you choreographed to what he gave you? Was there a mock-up at all, or was it?
Well, we had some other stuff for sure, and but he hadn't seen when we connected with Antonio. We had already been working on this project for about a year and a bit, a year and a half. So we did have some other stuff built, and he hadn't seen any. Antonio didn't see any of the choreography or anything like that. Our conversations and the script and the time code, and then what instruments and what feel and what vibe and genre, and yeah, and then we reworked the choreography we had, because sometimes, like, as a choreographer too, like, sometimes you can build stuff to just your own breath and then figure it out later, or whatever rhythm you've got. You don't necessarily need that, so
We definitely had we had a template earlier, which we built choreo to, but we also knew that eventually the music would change. So then it was a matter of re-choreographing it, but still using a lot of those ideas. So that's sort of how it all came to be. But yeah, as you said, we choreographed a lot of it just to beats and our own words and spoken rhythm and whatnot at first, knowing that we were waiting for this storyline of music to come
yeah.
our way.
And we always went back to the script, obviously, because that's where we started. Was like, what are we saying in this particular scene? I was like, because the scenes all range from like 5 seconds to 45 seconds or whatever. Outside of the dance pieces, a lot of the reality stuff there is, even though it's physical, just human movement outside of dance realm, it was all specific in terms of being on the music too. Just little things, like even the moment of Rodney throwing the garbage into the trash can, like things like that, where, whether or not you even pick up on that.
Yeah, the editing process was awesome and tedious and lovely, and we wanted to create this world where a lot of things were, the cuts were on the music and the physicality was on the music. Obviously, the dance has to be on the music for us and for the professionalism that we do here, but just to create a story in that regard, and we chose the cuts and the timing of it based on story. There's parts where we purposely made the cuts off the music for a little bit, like some of Thomas's sort of inebriation parts are off on purpose, or there's other examples of that. But yeah, just as an example.
And that was a conversation between all of us as we were in post. You know, Chris was there hugely through all of that as well, and brought a lot of beauty to it.
Like, considering how much it would have had to be on the music, the mechanical aspect of having to hit everything and be everything, it was so filled for 10 minutes of rehearsal, you know, for your team, for the actors, the performers, and they were all spectacular. Like, that, what really felt got us in as an audience was the emotional world seemed so invested. Like, you had, you know, 2 weeks of time together, yet, as you say, you did not even come close to that. But how it was sold, how it was served to us, it had such a light touch inside it that felt like there was ease, and there was joy, and there was investment that made it so engaging. I mean, I think as an audience, we fall into it completely. We buy into every second of it.
That's a testament to all the artists involved, for sure. You know, and they embodied it so fast. And we talked a lot about what everything means, obviously. You know, I rambled in everyone's ears all the time, for sure. But, you know, they made it their own, too, and found, as we do as artists, we take something out of whatever story we're telling, and we make it as truthful as we can in the present moment.
If you're in just sort of reality, you were or are a mover, a dancer, or whatnot. But we did want to emphasize sort of the acting and the things that we as dancers are capable of and have been doing for years, and just wanted to sort of exploit that as well, and sort of bring that extra touch to it. Because when you have that extra sort of emotion behind it, then obviously, yes, the dancing is there, but then the story is there as well. And we really, really wanted actors and actresses and people who were capable of that, for sure. So that was our casting process.
And they were fantastic.
Yeah.
How did you handle and how did you experience it, being everything, the jacks of all trades on this? You know, creators, directors, choreographers, actors, dancers. With
some amazing support around us, for sure. You know, and a lot of those people are in this room tonight, for sure. I'm like growth mindset. I'm always like, let's swim upstream and push ourselves out of our comfort zones and lose complacency and all that stuff. Like, I'm just like, just want to keep expanding always. So I dove into the unknown of these things that were opportunities, and I knew it was the only way to actually make this type of work come to fruition. You know, so yeah, it was nice. Honestly, the comfort part of it was, of course, all the movement stuff. But like, been doing that literally my entire life, so that was the stuff that I didn't stress about. Everything else made my brain explode at times. It was it definitely ebbed and flowed in a difficult but beautiful journey.
Any scenes or bits that were left on the cutting room floor, anything that didn't get it into the film?
We had some pickup shots that we had sort of done in the moment that weren't in the script. I think that ended up not making it, but were still really beautiful. But everything was pretty calculated in terms of what we did. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure most of it made it there, except for the stuff that we were kind of doing on the fly, which was so beautiful. And, you know, hopefully one day gets seen somewhere, you know, we're smashing clocks and
outtakes.
Stuff like that.
We did smash the clock. Yes, the clock is now gone and no longer exists. Yeah, interesting question, Gabe. We did stick true to the story. So we did plan to have, that's how organized we had to be with our schedule. So we needed those shots to sort of make it all work. Now, we had multiple takes that definitely some of them were ixnayed for sure.
There's some great behind the scenes stuff.
We got some BTS
Some
coming, some
stuff,
behind the scenes stuff.
which is pretty funny.
It's pretty good. My favorite scene was the one, I think I was directing that day. Should I say this?
What are you gonna say?
You know the pee scene?
It happens very
They're
quickly.
peeing, they're urinating.
John and Jane.
So I believe my
peeing.
direction is Marie, if you were here. Yes.
You-
she is. There
no,
she is.
I was
I believe
actually
my
peeing.
direction was more to the right, bro.
Yeah.
More to the right. I'm like, we can't see the stream.
Yeah.
It's all with the technical.
I was adamant about using my own urine.
So
So
I do a quick retake.
yeah, we really get
It
help.
had to be a one taker.
One
for
take,
sure,
but it was like
yeah.
it was like 4 minutes
glass
long.
Of water or two.
Yeah, totally. It was like
No
the shot was
time,
like
no
4
time.
minutes.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun. We were going to actually leave. I know there's no dialogue in our piece, but we were going to leave that in just that spot, just for fun. Yeah, just
To the right.
to the right, bro. To the right.
At what point in the process did you realize that breakfast was going to be the theme?
So cool. I'm glad you asked this. Nice, because you probably like it's a beautiful nuance to the message for sure. Our live title cards, actually, Jeff Woods. This is his concept for sure. Originally, we were going to go with these old school title cards, you know, to pay homage more to the silent film aspect, but obviously we're modernizing all of that. And Jeff thought, incredible camera operator, a little bit creative, half of that. Anyway, awesome dude, check him out. But he came up with the idea of these modern live title cards, and with our quotes, we were like, what is this linking theme though? Like, how can we make this link, right? And so we were like, it was already written that every character was eating breakfast in a certain way, right? Like we were just trying to show sort of basic, clear storytelling in the day of the life of humans, right? And we were like, okay, well, we want our audience to be able to ingest the quote. So we used the theme of the food as if, you know, subconsciously you would ingest the quote to lead you down the path of the story.
If you did notice that each breakfast item is also seen in that episode as well, so we're just trying to find something to connect, as Matt said, to take the quote, to ingest it, to bring it into yourself.
That is a great texture. Like that's really, that's some Nietzsche type stuff going on in there.
We were leaning into the
So
surrealism for sure.
Really, woo,
Right?
We had 2.5 years.
That,
So.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. That just in the quote. And the quotes were so great. When did you choose the quotes?
Chatter brought that to the table.
Another thing to sort of lead you into the episode, I thought it would be an interesting idea to find some pretty incredible people, some pretty inspirational people, and find something that relates to the episode as well. So meet each other for a smile in the John and Jane episode is perfect because they don't do it until they actually meet, and then when they come out of their dream sequence, that's their smile. So we had to try and find those little magical moments to make the quote. Actually, the quote came to represent the magical moments in each episode.
They were great. Just great. Yeah. And each one felt like, I think because we get invested in the episode and the people, it felt like the quotes got deeper somehow and more connected. But I think because it was accumulative, which I think is also a real coup for how that all worked out. It just they just gained more meaning because the people and the situations gained more meaning for us. So what's the love of and the draw to the silent film and as a genre, as a medium?
Well, I personally, it's an homage to the old, and it's a beautiful art form that is not as common anymore. And we thought we could modernize it and bring it in. It's also sort of like, to us, it's a bit of an untapped market a little bit now. It hasn't been used, and we think we can sort of change it, revolutionize it a bit, just to bring it into like a modern day concept. And we think it's really interesting. Matt is gung ho about the
I'm hardcore.
silent film. Yeah, so I sort of went along with it, to be honest. No, I'm just kidding.
Thanks, bro.
But I'm gonna let him take that one home. No,
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful art form, and that we can bring it back into modern day.
Yeah. I mean, spending life dancing, you know, and how it transcends to other places as time goes by and you evolve through art. Hopefully, if you're lucky, or if you or want to, I guess, or pulled to, or whatever it may be, I don't know. But it's the physical storytelling, you know, and also dance is this universal language. It connects to any human being. It takes us out of these different spoken languages that are all over our world, and anybody from anywhere over around this globe hopefully would be able to watch something like this and relate to it in whatever way they do, right? So that really calls to me, because it sort of just, again, it just goes deeper to the connectivity of being human, right? And that's what it's all about, I guess. Yeah. And I'm just lucky that we know how to dance and be able to do that.
You're lucky. Yeah, that's it.
A lot of hard work for sure. We all know a lot of incredible people in this room too. Dancers, artists.
I love that you said
know
that.
how hard it is.
Dance definitely is universal, and I guess if you go to the roots of any culture, you'll find it there. And as Matt said, I think anybody across the globe could watch something like this. And that's sort of what we were striving for sure.
Totally. And I'm a big Buster Keaton fan. Charlie Chaplin, those folks. Check them out. Even Hitchcock stuff.
Then
You ever heard of them?
Check them out. You know them? You know them?
that's fantastic, and a perfect full circle. Dance is universal and also timeless, which is also kind of great. And this series gives us all of that. It's fantastic. So it is available now. The full series is available on STRATFEST Home. It is glorious. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
And everyone at
everyone.
home,
Thank you
watch
all.
this, enjoy
Thank
it.
you,
It's
Tom.
heaven. Thank you so
Also,
much.
Northern Tracks, check it out.
Yeah,
Coming
Thom
up.
Allison, the
Coming
amazing
up.
Thom Allison.
Right on. Thanks, Tom.
amazing.
Thanks, man.